In the 71-year history of Formula 1, there have only been 5 female drivers who've entered a Grand Prix, and only 2 of those drivers have actually started a race. To put that into perspective, there have been 765 male F1 drivers, meaning 0.65% of drivers in Formula 1 have been female. The last time a woman started a race in a championship, it was 1976, and not a single driver on the 2021 grid was even born then, indicating quite how much of an absence there's been. But it's not like there aren't any female drivers in motorsport, it's just that those drivers haven't had the opportunity to drive in Formula 1, money playing quite a lot in that. And this issue was attempted to be solved in 2004 with the introduction of Formula Woman, although that was about as successful as Ryuji Kamita. However, it was announced in October 2018 there would be a new all-woman racing championship, the W Series, which has gained traction after it joined Formula 1 as a feeder series this year, and after Sophia Floersch went on a rant about it on Twitter. So what is the W Series? What opportunities does it give for the drivers? And what on earth is Sophia Floersch talking about? So first of all, what actually is a W Series? Well, with the inaugural season in 2019, the W Series is a single-seater racing championship for only women, designed to give opportunities for women in motorsport. It's pretty much the fairest racing championship in the world. If you think of most racing drivers, almost all of them come from wealthy or extremely rich backgrounds. If you don't have a source to fork millions of dollars a year to race, then you don't stand a chance. And if you're not the family heir of a relatively large Russian chemical company, you'll pretty much have to sacrifice everything in order to race. Like Lewis Hamilton and his dad, who gave up everything they had so they could race. The W Series thought of this, and all the talent which will never get anywhere through this. So with the W Series, you don't have to pay a penny to enter. If you're then in the top 18 drivers who enter, you qualify to race in the series, and you still don't have to pay anything. In 2019, every car was operated by the same team, High Tech Grand Prix. Your setup had to be shared with all the other drivers and engineers, and you'd switch engineers every race so you could never gain an advantage, trying to make it as fair as possible. And to be honest, I think that this was slight overkill, but hey, it worked for the year at least. However, for the second season in 2021, 2020 was cancelled due to COVID, individual teams do exist now, making it a bit more like an actual series. The drivers race Tatuus F3 cars which are also used in Formula Regional and Asian F3. Slower than FIA F3 cars, but faster than Formula 4. And this year it's an 8-race championship, racing on 7 different tracks in support of Formula 1, having previously raced as a feeder series for DTM. Now compared to the other feeder series, you don't actually get that much track time during a weekend in this championship. There's just 1 practice session, a qualifying session, and then 1 race. However, I guess based on the fact that the drivers don't actually have to pay means they do run on a limited budget, which is why despite having the same number of rounds as Formula 2, it only has 8 actual races instead of 24. It uses the same point system as F1, with 25 points for P1 going down to 1 point for P10, but forgetting that aspects of the series which we'll come onto later, it's pretty much just an average feeder series. But what opportunities does it pose to the drivers? W Series was founded to give women higher opportunities in series like Formula 1 and other championships, while the series gives super license points to the top 8 in the championship. However, compared to other championships, it doesn't dish out that many. You need 40 super license points in the previous 3 years to get an F1 seat, and 25 to take part in a practice session, but W Series gives 15 to the championship winner. Now yes, it's Formula 3, so you can't expect it to give as many super license points as Formula 2 or IndyCar, but 15 points for the winner is less than Formula Regional and Asian F3, championships using the exact same car as the W Series. So whilst doing well in the championship will give you a slightly higher chance of Formula 1, it's not enormously high. Because it's now on the Formula 1 weekend, it gives the opportunities for F1 teams to look at the talent in the series. There are currently 2 drivers out of the 18 who are linked to Formula 1 teams, being the reigning champion Jamie Chadwick, who's linked to Williams, and Jessica Hawkins, who's linked to Aston Martin. Jessica Hawkins, who's known for wearing her trademark bobble hat in 30-degree weather. So those are probably the drivers with the highest chance of F1 right now. Of course, if you're talking about women in general in F1, there's F4 driver Maya Vogue in the Ferrari Driver Academy. However, without being harsh, her F4 results have been crap. As well as the super license point system, W Series also has a huge pile of cash and prize money. Now this is important. P1 in the championship wires $500,000 to your bank account, and another $1 million is split up between the rest of the drivers. So not only will you come out of W Series with some super license points, but you'll have have much more cash than you did before to join some bigger championships, I guess. Well, what opportunities did the last champion get? Well, the 2019 champion was Jamie Chadwick, a Williams Junior driver, and after 2019 she got the opportunity to drive in Formula Regional European, with the best team on the grid. But despite driving for Prema in the most hideous livery I've ever seen since she was sponsored by Kiwi Sanders Car Company, she wasn't that great. There were 9 drivers who drove in every round of the championship, and she came 7th, which could be worse, but driving the best car on the grid and barely beating people in a worse car I'd never heard of before doesn't really say much. Anyway, Chadwick now races in Extreme E and W Series still, which kind of defeats the point of the championship if it's designed to promote women up the ranks yet drivers stay in it for multiple years. However, the prize money did still give Chadwick the opportunity to race in Formula Regional. Maybe she's racing this year in W Series again to get more prize money. If that's the case, then we might as well call it W Bank. Maybe I'm missing something, but we've concluded that the W Series does give opportunities to women with super license points and cash, but in its short history we don't really have enough evidence to prove that that does anything. If you're interested in whether Chadwick will get any F1 action or not, she currently has 26 points on her super license, meaning that she is eligible for an FP1 with Williams. However, that's very unlikely to happen, because not only is she bottom of the Williams Academy hierarchy, but when she was up against other junior series talent in Formula Regional, she didn't prove that she was worthy of F1 action. However, being bottom of the Williams Academy and not necessarily being F1 talent doesn't mean much, because there's an exact clone of that criteria who goes by the name of Roy Nassani, who gets loads of FP1s. And Chadwick, if anything, is more likely to go, because the sad truth is that it would gain Williams a lot of publicity for giving Chadwick a go, but I still find it unlikely to happen. And if it were to happen, it'd have to be before the end of 2021, since due to the expiry system, after this year, Jamie will be left with 1 super license point. Now the final question is what Sophia Floersch has been on about, because she's recently, or if you factor in my break, not so recently, drawn some controversy over on a horrible site called Twitter. She deleted the thread eventually, which is why I don't have loads of screenshots, but she pretty much called out the W Series, saying how it doesn't do anything for women and slandering it in every way she can. Now the championship isn't new to controversy. It's faced criticism from multiple notable women in motorsport such as Pippa Mann, Simona Di Silvestro and Charlie Martin, but it was really random how Floersch became so critical of it, having never mentioned it before. Not only did she say things of which a load of it was complete bollocks, including the incredible logic that if you're older you're automatically slower, which I guess you could argue that an 82-year-old would not be fast, but oh wait. She was talking about someone who was the ancient age of 26, but she then became incredibly defensive to anyone with logic, and this meant I achieved one of the greatest achievements in my F1 media career yet, ratioing Sophia Floersch. But I was giving her sense. She was saying how she was automatically better than everyone in the W Series, which I then reminded her how she's being beaten in DTM by Esme Hawkey, a driver who competed in W Series in 2019 and came 15th. So yes, Sophia is automatically better, but it was pretty much Floersch being Floersch, a slow driver with dodgy opinions but who can get away with anything because she went on a flight to a Macanese skyscraper. In my opinion, the W Series is a good idea, but I feel like it could be done in a better way. I don't have loads of suggestions for it, but it can't be working out that well if it's designed to promote drivers, but multiple drivers sitting there for multiple years. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. However, my uploads are so rare I don't really think that's necessary, and leave a comment on what you think of the W Series. But with that, I'm Daniel, have a nice day.